Patrick Lang, Business Modification Group. Hope you're having a fantastic day. I want to do a quick video today on a topic that I get asked quite often, and that is, what's the hardest heating and air company to sell? Is it commercial versus residential? Is it in a bigger city? Is it in a smaller market? Is it union employees versus non-union employees? The reality is the hardest company I have found for me to sell over the years is a one-man or one-woman operation. There's several different reasons why I think that is. A couple of them. First is, no one ever calls me and says, I'd love to buy a business where I have to work 14 hours a day in the heat, in the cold, then come home and do paperwork at night. You as a single operator know what that's like. If you were to start over again, that certainly wouldn't have been the dream 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And for somebody looking to get in, chances are it's not the dream for them as well. The second part of that is who we're going to sell it to. And so when I take on a listing, one of the things I like to do is to identify, who do I think I'm going to market to? Who'd be a great buyer to take this over and give us a reasonable amount of money for it? And so there's three basic classes for a single operator to sell to, in my opinion. The first one is going to be a big company. They're going to put somebody in the truck. They're going to take over your customer accounts automatically and get working. The downside of that buyer is they are not making the amount of money, netting the amount of money as a single operator you are. You don't have the overhead that they do, and you're doing the work yourself, and so you're probably making 40, 50% net margins where they're probably making 10 or 15. So on that same business where you're making 40 and they're making 15, they're not willing to pay you what you're looking for because it's going to take them too long to pay it back. So that makes selling it to a big company a challenging thing to do. The second person or target for us to go after is going to be another single operator company, another man or woman in a truck. And the downside of them is, just like you, I'm sure, that they're so busy, the thought of buying more customers that they couldn't get to would never enter their mind. They're working so hard, they're working long days, they probably can't get to the work that they've got. And so to take on more, especially to pay somebody for more work without any people to help, doesn't usually go well for them. So that leads us to the third, which I think is the best alternative for a single operator sell to, and that's going to be a new person entering the field. Whether it's leaving a trade school or whether they just got started in the industry and wanting to go on their own, they're typically hardworking, they're aggressive, they're wanting to get to work, they're willing to put in 12, 14, 16-hour days like you do, and typically that would be the best buyer in my opinion. That buyer does come with a downside as well. Typically, they don't have any money. They're young. They haven't had time to accumulate any capital. And so if you're going to sell to one of them, then you're either going to have to plan your exit early. So plan on selling 2 or 3 years down the road, bring them on now, and start them buying you out over time while you're still there to make sure everything stays well. Or you've got to act like a bank, which most people don't want to do to a complete stranger. So if you're a one person or one man or one woman operation, keep that in mind as you're getting closer to retirement. Who's going to buy my business? Who's going to write me the check that I need? And start planning now, because long term, those are the hardest ones that I have found to sell, that take the longest, that get the smallest multiples. And I want you to plan for that. If you're going to stay a one-person operation, understand what you're going to be up against when it's time to sell, and plan for that today. If you have any questions on that, please give me a call, send me an email, send me a text. I'm happy to help out any way I can. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. I hope you have a fantastic day.